Okay guys, so I know the lighting is horrible and my apologies for that, but in all honesty, that's not the point of what we're trying to do today. I could spend minutes, hours trying to get this all set up perfect, but unfortunately this is what I got to work with and that's that. So that's that. So what I want to teach you now is how I go about mixing my colors. So you're working with a photograph, right? And you want to paint a certain element in the photo. Well, how the hell are you going to do that if you don't know how to actually match what's in there? So that's what I'm going to show you. Now, it really boils down to 3 elements when it comes down to matching a color. You have your value, which is the scale from white to black, and whatever is in between. That's value. Then you have your hue, which most people think is color, right? But hue is actually the color family, also known as blue, red, yellow, purple, blah, 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 blah. All those hues, right? The last one, which is the most difficult to understand, is the chroma, which essentially means color intensity. So let's just imagine that you have a stop sign. Just imagine like a highlighter, for instance. You know, it's very color intense, right? The yellow is like vibrant, but you have like, let's say a banana, right? They're both yellow, right? They both have the same value, maybe roughly, not so, but you can distinguish which one has more intense green, which one has a more intense yellow hue, right? So that last one is the chroma. A little bit more to grasp, to understand, but just to understand that there's three characteristics that identify a color: the hue, the value, and the chroma. Okay? So without further ado, I'm going to kind of show you how I approach matching a color. Imagine that's the color that we're trying to recreate, right? So if I were to look at it, I would obviously think, okay, hue, value, chroma, right? First is the value. This is our white, right? The lightest value. This is our dark, the darkest value. If I were to imagine this as a value, I would probably guess that this, if I were to blur my eyes, is much closer on the spectrum of being dark, somewhere probably around this, as opposed to being light, somewhere down here, right? So we have the value set. So if I were to kind of come up with a value, I'd probably start mixing. Take my white, right? Way too light. I mean, come on, look at that. There's no way that that's the same value. There's no way. What does that mean? I start to deduct from this. So obviously I need to darken this. I'm going to grab a little black, right? Just to darken, right? And a really neat effect is to blur your eyes. And just to kind of not jump ahead too much, but since I know green, it's a little bit warmer. If I were to keep using black, this would start to shift to actually a blue hue, and I don't want that. I think green's a little bit warmer than blue, because they're both cool, but green is a little bit warmer of the two cool colors. So I'm going to use brown. Brown is a dark value, but it's a little bit warmer in hue than black would be. So I come here, and as you can see right away, we're getting closer to that damn value, and that's what we want. We're just getting closer. Go, I'm sounding like Bob Ross. Just a little bit closer.
You ready to have some fun?
So if you were to blur your eyes, what would you say? That's much closer in value than this, right? I would say we could probably even push a little bit darker. So maybe just add a little bit more brown. I don't know what that's going to do. I don't even know if this is right. That's the whole thing with painting. You don't know. You keep playing. And the more you mess around, the more you're painting. And the more hours you paint, the better you're going to get. So in the end, you're not losing anything, right? You're just painting. And that's what you want to be doing because we love it, right? Great. So we're getting closer with the value. Now I want to look at the hue. We have the value down. We'll worry about chroma a little bit later, but now we're looking at the hue. And I could say, you know what, judging by these two things, if I had shifted to a hue, would I say I want to push it more yellow, more green, more red, more blue, more brown, more black. Now this is exactly what I do with my paintings. I were to look at an image and I would say, this photo is telling me I need to match this swatch. What would I do? Well, judging by this, I'm probably going to want to grab a little bit of this green, right? And I'll just grab a little bit because you don't know how it's going to interact, right? And that pretty much did absolutely nothing. So let's grab a little bit more. Whoa, we're going to need to grab a lot more. How about that? So what's happening here? This is basically not even shifting. So what I can tell you right now is as I keep pushing this green, and I'm sure there's another way to go about this, because there are infinites, what I'm starting to see is the shift is starting to take place. It's starting to shift a little bit more green, right? But guess what? The value isn't dark enough. So what I'm going to try, now of course there's infinite ways you can go about doing this. I'm just going to try, because I don't know exactly, but I'm going to try to get this a little bit darker. All right, let's grab a little bit more of that brown. A little bit of my medium, so it just starts to kind of move the color a little bit quicker. And I want to try a little bit yellow. Yeah, a little more green, a little more brown. Now what's happening? Has it shifted at all? I don't know. We might need to add a little more black. Who knows? So, boom, right there you can see, look what's happening. Look at this. We are getting damn close. If I'm looking at it with my own eyes and I'm saying, holy stuff, that's pretty close, I think it needs to shift a little bit more green, right? And I'm looking at this and I'm telling myself, if I were to blur my eyes, let's actually push this just to the edge of this. It gives you guys a better idea as to, gives you a better view at it. As a swatch, if I were to blur my eyes, I would tell you this is still darker, right? So I want to just touch the black, touch the green, because I still feel like this actually is more green and it's also darker. So why don't I try adding green with black and see what that does. Add a little more medium just to help with the color. Black, brown to warm up the value, right? Because black will make it go blue. We want to keep it green, so I just want to darken it, right? I want to lower the value. So I want to add some black, warm it up with a little bit of brown. You warm it out by not adding a light value to it. It continues to keep it dark, but it just keeps it warm, right? Look at that. We're getting darker now, right? We're getting pretty darn close to that value. And I still, now when I blur my eyes, this almost looks darker in value, to be honest with you. But so close that I would also register to say that, you know what, we're so close in value, but I actually think this one is more chromatic. Remember that chroma we were talking about, a little more color intense? So the question is, how do you mix more chroma? How do you get it more vibrant? Well, here's the thing. Every single time you mix white or black or any neutral color, it's going to desaturate your color, meaning it's going to lower the chroma. A color that's more saturated has more chroma. A color that's desaturated is closer to a neutral, like this wood, or this like wood or something. So if I want to increase chroma, I need to go straight to like the bright straight from the tube essentially. That's going to increase the pigment, not mix in white or any black. So I'm going to grab some green because it's a light green and some more yellow. I'm going to add it in. I'm going to keep doing this green, a little bit yellow, a little bit more brown. Guys, we're getting really close here. I mean, I'm going to start to slowly zoom in. Oh God, that'll take forever. Let's see, this way. Oh, no, this way. Let's get in there. Come on. Bingo. Turn you this way. How cool would it be if I had someone else to help me, right? So, I mean, that looks pretty close, right? I'm blending these two right now. Now, and here's the thing, I mean, could I get more accurate? Maybe I could, you know, and it's honestly, it's up to the painter to establish how much and how far they want to push. But the whole point is if you're doing photorealism, you just kind of want to match what that reference image photo is showing. Because guess what? The viewer, when you have your painting, let's say in a gallery or showing someone, they're not going to be like, oh man, the hue and the value. No way, dude. You are off. I mean, holy crap. That's pretty damn close, right? They're not going to know the difference. The point is how long do you really want to like kick yourself just to getting it 100% exact, right? So it's as far as you want to go. But to me, I feel like we did a pretty good job. So that's how we mix that color, right? Pretty simple. So when you're doing, I mean, not simple, it takes time, but when you're doing this, the whole point is you want to just start to focus on hue, value, and chroma. So I'm going to just do one more for you guys. We'll make it a little bit quicker so it doesn't take as long. Everything takes longer when you're trying to explain it on video, right? So I'm just going to mix something random. Let's try it. How's that spot, right? Have a little more oil to fix. What's this? So I can turn it brown or green, I don't know. Blue. Let's make the value lighter this time. How about that? Unfortunately, I'm using a medium here that's got a little bit of a quick dry agent. So after a little while, it starts to get a little tacky. All right. What do you think of that? Do we like that color? Should we add a little more red to it? See what happens? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's the one, right? Okay. So, I know no one's going to respond to me when I say this, but how are we going to go achieving this swatch? Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't I show you? Let's see if this is how you would do it. I would start with the value. Value, let's see. Let's try a little white. Let's see what that looks like. Nope. What are you saying? Are you saying that this is darker in value than this or lighter in value? Well, if you said darker, you're drunk. It's definitely not darker. It's way lighter. So what does that mean? Well, it means I have to lower the value. So let's just focus on that. I don't even care about the color at this point. I just want to get the value lower. So I could choose, you know what the heck? Why don't we just choose blue? I know it's not a blue color, but I'll show you how I'll even bring it back. Because it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to get it right away. So this is already blue, right? It's actually green. So the value's darker, right? We're a little bit darker now, but it's still too bright and it's too cold. So if I'm thinking, okay, you know what? I need to decrease the value, make it darker. I need to shift it to make it warmer. Maybe I'll grab some red, right? I'll grab some red. Pretty, and it needs to be darker. So I'll grab some brown because it's darker in value, but it's also a warm darker. If I went to black, this would shift to blue. So I want to be aware of what value hue and chroma this is, right? I know this is on the warmer side of things. Meaning, imagine this. When I say warmer and cooler, I want to show you guys what I mean. So say this is a warm brown. I'll show you the cool brown. I'm adding more black, a little blue, black, more blue. I want to get the same value. So if I'm looking at these now to blur my eyes, I'd say that this is brown, so this would be deemed as brown as 2. They're pretty much similar in value, but which one would you say is cool? Not like Cool Hand Luke, but like cool, warmth, cold, warm. This is cooler, right? That's warmer. So when you're messing with colors to try to shift the value, just know there are dark pigments, or hues if you will. Brown is dark, and that'll darken your color. Black will do the same thing. Blue will do the same thing, but guess what? One of these out of the blue, black, and brown is going to shift that value to a cool and to a warm. Your brown is going to do the best job at keeping your swatch warm. So right here, we jumped way too far, and that's okay. The value seems to be a little too dark for this, and I want to warm it up. So I'm going to add some white to lower the value again. Maybe a little red, maybe a little more red. And to be honest, as I'm doing this, I think this looks even a little bit more orange. So how do I get orange? I add a little red, I add a little yellow. Put it in there. More yellow, more red, more oil. Do you guys see how this is? I mean, this is not like perfect when you first start out. Of course not. It's not gonna be. But what's happening is as I progress, my eyes are starting to really take to seeing color more accurately. The more you do this, the easier it is for you to be able to discern exactly what color it is you're trying to mimic. And in the end, that's really the name of the game. The name of the game. So I'm looking at this, value's too dark. Look, watch this. Well, it's not really showing up, but I'm telling you right now, this is too dark compared to this. So I want to maybe add a little white, and I got to be careful. Once I start adding white to this, it starts to desaturate. You always want to be aware of how saturated your color is, because you don't want to keep pushing it too far away from the chroma, right? So as I do this and I push the paint right up beside, you're going to be able to see a little bit better. So is it exact? No, but let me get closer. Maybe add a little more red and see what that does. I mean, is it still too dark? Yeah, probably. Why are we getting that weird line on the camera? How does that look? Well, if you ask me, I would say that's pretty darn close. I don't have the best lighting, but I mean, I just did 2 feet right there. So the point is, you're not going to be able to nail on the first attempt. The whole point is to get closer. So if I'm trying to do this green, I look at this white, I would tell you value too light. So let's just darken and make it go to green. So brown, because brown's a dark yellow. Brown, green, more yellow. Green, more green, a little brown, maybe a little blue. A little more brown to darken it up. I mean, just like that, guys. Look how quickly those two almost match. I mean, close enough, right? So I hope that exercise helped. That's essentially how I go about mixing the colors. It doesn't have to be perfect, guys. Honestly, the whole point is just to capture that term. Have you heard it before? Likeness. Everyone's... Did I turn this on? Capturing that likeness. Just making it look closer, closer than it was before. So I'll mix that up. I'll get my color right. And what I'll do is I'll mix it up. I'll get it on the canvas. And I won't go crazy at trying to get it perfect. If I just can't get it that day, fine. You know what I do? I wait for it to dry. I wait for it to dry, because tomorrow or Wednesday or Thursday, when it finally is dry, I can go back in, and guess what? Now my starting spot is much closer than it was when it was a white canvas. And that's the whole point. The more you paint, the better you get at it, the better you'll start to be able to see the value, the hue, the chroma, and I promise you, it'll start to get easier. But this is only a tidbit of what I'm showing you. I'm gonna show you this method as I approach a part of this painting, and I'll show you how I layer it, how I don't push too much in the first pass to essentially make yourself go crazy. Honestly, less is more. I'll essentially paint the basics of what I think I'm seeing. I'll wait for it to dry, and once it's dry, I'll slowly go back in and I'll refine 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 until my heart's content or until I go crazy. So I hope this was helpful. And yeah, that's that. I look forward to seeing you guys next time, and feel free to comment, ask questions, subscribe. That's all I got for you guys. Bye.
Wanna hold on.